Hey babies, welcome back to another Deck Tech in Modern League. This week we're playing Domain Zoo. The deck list we're playing with is on screen now and in the description below. And the central idea of this deck is that it's a mix between an aggro deck and a good stuff deck, where we get rewarded by playing as many basic land types as possible. So let's get into the deck tech. Starting off with the bottom of our creature curve, we have 4 copies of Territorial Kavu and 4 copies of Scion of Draco. Kavu is a Gruul XX, with power and toughness equal to the number of basic land types among lands we control. And whenever it attacks, we can either discard a card to draw a card, or exile one target card from a graveyard. And Scion of Draco is also a 2-drop, despite looking like it costs 12, because it costs 2 less mana to cast for each basic land type among lands we control. It's a flying 4/4, and it gives each creature we control keyword abilities based on their color. Vigilance if they're white, Hexproof if they're blue, Lifelink if they're black, First Strike if they're red, and Trample if they're green. We have 4 copies of Shardless Agent, which give us value from cascading, 3 copies of General Ferrous Rockerick, which has hexproof from monocolor for some protection, and whenever we cast a multicolor spell, we create a 4/4 token. And our deck's filled with those, and it's complemented very well by the cascade spells. And we have 4 copies of Bloodbraid Elf for even more cascade value. And then the last of our creatures are 2 copies of Omnath, which just has so many abilities that it's ridiculous, and it's proved that by being a staple in Standard, Pioneer, and Modern. For our non-creature spells, we have 4 copies of Lightning Bolt and 4 copies of Lightning Helix, and then we have 4 copies of Tribal Flames, which, although having the downside of being a sorcery, usually deals 5 damage to whatever we're targeting because we'll have each basic land type. We have 2 Manamorphose, which we can use as either mana fixing or just a free Rockerick trigger, and we have 2 copies of Hidetsugu Consumes All, because its ability to remove non-land permanents is a really good way to stabilize against things like Hammer, and having some incidental graveyard hate is really nice. Moving on to our mana base, we have 4 copies of Arid Mesa and 4 copies of Wooded Foothills, 2 Flooded Strands and 2 Misty Rainforests, 1 Ndatha Triome, 1 Xander's Lounge, and 1 Zagoth Triome, 2 Stomping Grounds, 1 Blood Crypt, 1 Breeding Pool, 1 Sacred Foundry, 1 Steam Vents, 1 Temple Garden, and finally, 1 Basic Forest. We're playing Gigantha as our companion because it's a free roll, and in our sideboard we have 2 Alpine Moons for disrupting lands, 3 Rest in Peace for graveyard decks, and 2 Damping Spheres for Amulet, Tron, and Storm-style combo decks, 2 copies of Lavinia for Cascade decks and Evoke Elementals, 2 copies of Teferi Time Raveler for Cascade decks and decks with counterspells, and 3 copies of Force of Vigor for artifacts and enchantments. And that's the deck tech. Let me know what you think of the deck in the comments. If there's something you want to see in the future, let me know. There's a good chance it'll be made into a video, and let's get into the league. Alright, round 1 with Domain Zoo. We're feeling Gigantha as our companion. This hand is kind of mid. We have 2 lands. Breeding Pool is one of them, which means that we don't have all of our land types quite yet, which cuts us off of playing Scion of Dracos and Lightning Helix, so I'm going to mulligan. Alright, 3 lands. Bolt Manamorphose, Hidetsugu, and Shardless Agent. 3. I'll keep this one. The mana's still a little iffy, but we have enough action that I think we can get somewhere with this. Opponent plays Wooded Foothills and fetches, getting Steam Vents. They didn't have a companion, so it looks like they're probably playing Murktide. Oh, they're playing Living End. There's a Curator. Alright, I'm glad we have Hidetsugu. Our game 1 is kind of trash against them, though. So we're probably just going to get murdered here. We'll see, I guess. Because Hidetsugu is very slow. Even if we play it on turn 3, it only exiles their graveyard on turn 4, which is, since we're on the draw, 2 turns late. So that's a little unfortunate. Alright, so what colors do we need? We just need white, based on our hand currently. Let's get Ndatha Triome because it pairs with Steam Vents. We draw Lightning Helix, so we'll shock in Steam Vents for that, I guess. And hopefully they just don't have it here. Street Wraith. They don't cascade yet. They probably have Violent Outburst, if I had to guess. But I think we have to go for Hidetsugu anyway. We draw Bloodbraid Elf. Alright, hopefully they just don't have it somehow. I doubt that that's the case, but it's kind of just what our line is. It's possible they just have like a bunch of cyclers here. We'll know at end of turn though. Alright, do they have it? Looks like they do. Well, they would have tapped. They're gonna untap and tap for red. Okay. So they're gonna get 11 power into play, which is not good for us. And it basically all has unblockable, which is double not good for us. So we're probably just dead. There's technically a chance that like we just top deck fantastically, but pretty much over here. However, we get to bring in a bunch of rest in pieces, Lavinias, and Teferis against them. That seems pretty sweet. We'll see what we draw. 5, 6, 7. So I could play Bloodbraid Elf, even if I get the right removal spell. I'm still taking 7, so we concede. Okay. It doesn't feel good not having a decent game 1 plan against Living End. But I suppose that's the kind of thing you gotta put up with if you want to have a relatively fair and normal deck without playing like Urza Sagas and counterspells and stuff, right? So let's see. How do I want to side against them? We're bringing in lots of stuff. I feel like in general Bolt is not very good against them, but if I'm doing that I would take out Helixes first. So I'm dropping at least a pair of Lightning Helix. Actually, yeah, I probably side out these because siding out our low mana things makes it more likely that we can Shardless Agent or Bloodbraid Elf into one of the sideboard cards that we're bringing in. So I don't really want to cut any of these because of that. Territorial Kavu, I mean, it's just a good beater, but it also randomly has graveyard interaction, so that's kind of nice. I think Tribal Flames is necessary to keep in. We probably cut like a General Ferris because it's kind of not as necessarily part of the game plan, and then we cut like a couple Lightning Bolts because we're usually not going to be removing their stuff that way. More of the game is about preventing them from actually getting things into play in the first place. So yeah, I think I like that plan. Reveal Gigantha. We have Teferi, so that's at least something we will keep. And we also have all of our colors so we can play Scion on turn 2. It plays Leyline of Sanctity, that's fine. Oh yeah, they didn't actually see that much of our deck, I suppose. We're going to be pointing most of our Tribal Flames and stuff at their creatures that they managed to get into play anyway, so that's kind of fine. Yeah, so we play Xander's Lounge on turn 1, and then turn 2 we can use Arid Mesa to get Temple Garden. That gives us all of our colors, and we can play Scion. And then the turn after that we have blue, white, green, and can play Teferi. Or not play Teferi because they're going to grief here. So we need to find something else now. Shardless Agent gives us a Cascade, and there's a decent chance we can hit either Rest in Peace or Lavinia with it. But there goes Teferi. If I can get Scion into play and then Lavinia the next turn, Lavinia has hexproof because it's blue. So that's pretty nice. Wooded Foothills. Okay. So let's use Arid Mesa. We are going to need to find something. They already have a decent amount of cards in their graveyard. Simple Garden, yes. Down to 17. Scion of Draco. Pass the turn. Shockson Steam Vents. They don't have green mana yet, which would be great if they are actually lacking green mana. Bloodbraid Elf. Okay. So let's play Wooded Foothills so we thin the deck a little bit. And hopefully we'll get lucky with this Shardless Agent. What color would we like to get? We already have green. Probably more white would be good. So I think Sacred Foundry. Yeah, Sacred Foundry is going to be the call. Alright, come on, rest in peace or something. Lavinia is actually probably harder for them to interact with. We find Lightning Bolt, that's not very exciting. We will not cast Lightning Bolt. That's a shame. Alright, hopefully we can dodge a Cascade effect from them. We hit them for 4. If they do Cascade, they're going to be able to Grief and get rid of our Bloodbraid Elf. Yeah, their graveyard's very stacked now. Botanical Sanctum, they have their colors. They've got to have a Cascade effect. Maybe not yet. They're pausing like they're thinking about doing it main phase. Alright, what do we see? Territorial Kavu. So we're basically in the situation where if they have a Cascade effect, we're fucked anyway. So we need to go Bloodbraid Elf and then hopefully find something to disrupt them again. Shardless Agent. Could get us a Rest in Peace or Lavinia still. And Lightning Bolt, not what we wanted. Unlucky. Very unlucky. Alright, let's see if they Cascade while we're in combat. Looks like they're going to. Yep. Good lord. And they just have lethal in play already, so we will concede to that. Alright, hopefully we see a more fair deck in the next round, and I'll see you then. Alright, round 2 with Domain Zoo. We won the die roll. We will reveal our companion begrudgingly. Let's see, we have Indotha Triumph, Stomping Ground. We don't have blue. We do have a decent amount of stuff online already, though. I think it's worth keeping this hand. If we find any fetch land, we can find Steam Vents. And then we have blue mana. So let's play Indotha and pass. We can either remove something with Helix or play Territorial Kavu next turn, and then Kavu being able to loot should be able to find us the lands we want. We found the lands anyway, so that's fantastic. And yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and get Steam Vents and play Kavu. Opponent played Wooded Foothills and passed, so we don't quite know what we're up against yet. But hopefully it's something that big fair things will be good against. Because that's when this deck really shines. Ketria Triumph looks like they played Sacred Foundry. I was going to say it looks like the Cascade deck, but now I'm not sure. They played Prismatic Ending on our Kavu. We draw a Lightning Bolt. Let's play Scion of Draco. I'll play my land tapped, because I'm not sure if I want to remove something with the Bolt or not yet. I'm going to play Scalding Tarn, fetches. Get Steam Vents. Plays Teferi. Okay, so we can bolt that. That's nice at least. Zagoth Triumph, we'll play that. We will bolt you to unlock our Bloodbraid Elf for the future. And then play Scion. Looks like it might just be like a Jeskai control deck or something with Ketria Triumph. Oh, well, at least 4 color with Wrenn and 6. So now it looks like it could be like a creativity deck, maybe? We'll see, I guess. I'm going to go ahead and play Bloodbraid Elf so we can pressure this Wrenn and 6, while also pressuring our opponent. I like to wait on Omnath until I have a fetch land or something, too. We got Hidetsugu Consumes All, which doesn't remove anything, but does exile their graveyard, which could be relevant against Wrenn and 6. And we're going to attack them with Bloodbraid Elf and Wrenn and 6 with Scion to get that out of the way, I think. Well, actually, I could just attack them twice, and then they're kind of threatened, I guess. They are a creativity deck. They tap our thing. What are the chances they have creativity this turn? Is the question. If they don't have it right now, I'll be able to remove their creature with Lightning Helix. But it'd be hard to deal with an Archon right now. Looks like they might have it already. They attack for 1, that's fine. Creativity X2, looks like it. Damn. Alright, so Emrakul and Sarah's Agent. Or Sarah's Emissary, rather. Protection from Planeswalkers. We draw land, that's not going to do anything for us, and we'll scoop. How do we want to deal with creativity? Let's bring in Teferis. That might be it. We don't have a lot of sideboard against them, honestly, just because it's kind of a tertiary deck currently. I think I leave in Hidetsugu's because it gets rid of all their tokens that they use to pop off. And I think I'm going to cut Omnaths just because that's not really the angle that they're playing. There's kind of an argument for me bringing in Rest in Peace, I think, because of Wrenn and 6, but that's probably the only card that actually uses their graveyard, so I'm not going to worry about it. And we're going to plan on using our removal to the best of our ability, stop them from having tokens to where they can actually creativity. And in order to do that, we're going to have to keep their Teferi off the board as well. Alright, we got a lot of action, but only 1 land, and it's not one of the lands that pairs into having all of our land types for 2 lands, so we're gonna mulligan. Alright, we have a decent amount of stuff to do. We'll keep this. Let's get rid of Bloodbraid Elf since it's the most expensive card here. Opponent mulligans to 5. Always nice to see. We'll play Flooded Strand Go. Plan on getting Indoth the Triome with it. Opponent plays Stomping Ground tapped. We will get our Triome. We draw. Wooded Foothills. Okay. Play Misty. Get Steam Vents. Yes, shock it. Play Kavu. What does our opponent have? Opponent plays Steam Vents and passes. Interesting. Gonna go Wooded Foothills, crack Basic Forest. Plates of Fairy. See if they do anything. Remand. Okay. Do I want to loot? I think I want to get rid of Bloodbraid Elf. Because I'd like to have a Bolt to pair with this Teferi. Opponent plays Wrenn and 6. Pluses without getting a land. Pretty sweet. We're going to play Teferi. We're going to plus to make sure that it doesn't get killed by a Wrenn and 6. And because they're already mana screwed, we're going to hit Wrenn and 6 here so that if they get a fetch land, they don't get to get multiple lands with it. And we're going to get rid of this Stomping Ground. Double Tribal Flames means that we can kill our opponent next turn. Let's see what they do. They play Ice to draw a card. Seems like kind of a waste. I don't imagine they have Force of Negation. Well, even if they have Force of Negation, we have Teferi, so there's no way that they have something actually appropriate, is there? Alright, so we got this one. That's pretty sweet. Alright, so let's do that again. And by do that again, I mean have my opponent get stuck on 2 lands and just like magically not even have a fetch land for their Wrenn and 6. I think I keep everything the same. Just gotta rely on the 4-color creativity deck being inconsistent. Which shouldn't be too much of a stretch, I feel like. Reveal Gigantha. Bolt, Manamorphous, Shardless Agent. 3 lands. I mean, this is pretty keepable. It interacts with their combo a lot, and I think that's what we need when we're on the draw. Manamorphous is kind of mid. It's mostly there for, it's mostly here for free General Ferris triggers. Xander's Lounge. How does that change what we're doing here? If at all. I think I want to lead on that. Decide what I'm getting with Wooded Foothills later. What colors is this? That's the Naya one. Still getting used to all the new Triome names. We'll leave Manamorphous in hand for now. I'll probably cast it before playing Shardless Agent. But we'll see. Sequencing it like that actually, I don't know. I don't know about that. I think I want to wait on Shardless Agent, actually. I already have Temple Garden, so I think I'm just going to get a Triome here. Probably Indatha. Yeah. Because of Manamorphous, we already have Double Bolt up, so we don't really need to worry about that. So let's just go... So that's blue, that's green, 1 generic, and then a red. Let's just play Sacred Foundry. Pass the turn, leave up interaction. Opponent cycles a Triome. Maybe they're flooded this time. Opponent plays Jace. We can deal with that pretty easy, especially if they brainstorm here. And they do. So I'm going to go ahead and fire off this Manamorphose. White, red. Damn. We drew Rock Rick on the wrong turn. Tribal Flames. We actually just have a bunch of burn already. Huh. What's the nightmare scenario for us? They can get at least one token if they have a fetch land, because they have 3 mountains already. I think I just want to go Rock Rick, shock a land, and go. It's possible they can remove Rock Rick, but it's not incredibly likely. Shock and Blood Crypt, pass the turn. So they're definitely going to be playing Prismari Command, which can deal with Rock Rick, but Prismatic Ending can't. So that's nice. And they can't bolt it either. Opponent plays Scalding Tarn. Passes. We draw Territorial Kavu. If I attack with Rock Rick, there's a decent chance that they go fetch with Scalding Tarn. I can play Shardless Agent here and spin the wheel. That's probably the best thing to do. Even though Kavu would be nice, because Kavu's dependable. Let's see what we get. We definitely get this 4/4 at the very least. We get a Bolt, which we direct at our opponent's face, putting them to less life total. Yeah, honestly, if they take 3, that's great, because then they're dead to burn in the next turn. And if this kills a token, that's fine too, because that makes it a bit harder for them to combo off. So I'm kind of just fine with Rock Rick getting murdered by this dwarf. That's what it comes down to here. Because he's essentially already done his job by making a 4/4. And then we have this up still. I think that seems fine. Opponent plays Dwarven Mine. And are they just passing? We have double bolt, so we can remove it and then fight through a counterspell if we need to. Okay. I think our opponent's dead, because I don't think the one Naya colored mana is going to do anything for them here. We get there? You got a force? Sweet. Got there. And I'll see you in the next one. Alright, round 3 with Domain Zoo. We won the die roll, and we're revealing Gigantha as always. Steam Fence, Zagoth Triome, Arid Mesa. This hand seems pretty reasonable. So we go Zagoth Triome, Arid Mesa gets Sacred Foundry, and then we have all of our colors. We will keep. And then because we have Steam Vents, we have access to each combination of colors that we need. Our opponent's not playing a companion. We're going to go Triome Go. What do they have? Steam Vents? Okay. DRC. That is not as demanding of an immediate lightning bolt as it would be if it were a Ragavan, so I think I'm just going to play Kavu here. And then plan on going untapped land, Scion, Bolt something next turn, most likely. It's possible they can remove Kavu, but it would be a little bit unlikely, because they're either going to need to double bolt it or get Delirium on immediately and Unholy Heat it. They play a second DRC into Mishra's Bauble, so it is actually just possible that they get Delirium here. So we'll see, I guess. Luckily, Scion of Draco still just kind of brick walls these. They're playing a Thassa's Oracle deck, so it's not Murktide. This is a Grinding Station deck, most likely. Steam Vents. Or maybe it's just a Murktide deck that's playing a random Miser's Thassa's Oracle as a hedge. Alright, they have the Unholy Heat, which is hilarious. Both of these have to attack, so we're going to get to murder them with Scion of Draco, so that's nice. I think I want Bolt to be up anyway. Yeah, especially since we have Lightning Helix as a way to gain a little bit of life. Sounds good to me. This way, if they have another Unholy Heat, we can bolt one of these and be taking a little bit less damage. I'm curious what all they're playing, because other than the Thassa's Oracle, this does still just look like a regular Murktide deck. Hollowed Fountain, okay. Can't Prismatic into Scion. Expressive Iteration, okay. They found the thing they wanted, so that's probably another Unholy Heat if I had to guess. They have 2 cards in hand, they're going to have 3. If we find another land relatively soon for Bloodbraid Elf and Omnath, we're in a pretty good spot. Yep, there's Unholy Heat. Puts Urza's Saga in the graveyard, puts Expressive Iteration in the graveyard. That's kind of interesting. Let's get rid of one of these, so we do take 3 anyway. They draw a card with Mishra's Bauble, so they have 4 cards in hand. They'll have 5 on their turn. We draw Arid Mesa. We could just go for Bloodbraid Elf here, but I think it's a little unreliable. I'd rather go ahead and Lightning Helix, I think. Yeah. Because we could have been in danger for to actually just die the regular way and not to them comboing off if we went Bloodbraid Elf and didn't find removal there. Because they do just have lightning bolts in their deck. But this way we get to fetch at end of turn down to 11. And then depending on what we draw, if we draw a land, or definitely if we draw a fetch land, we play Omnath. And otherwise we play Bloodbraid Elf. Opponent plays an Urza's Saga, that's okay. Plays a Ragavan without dashing it, okay. Arid Mesa gets us. We want more white and more green, so let's get Indatha Triome. We draw Forest. I think I want to play Bloodbraid Elf here. Because I'd like to remove Ragavan if I can. Yeah, I think that's the right play. Pretty much anything I can hit with Bloodbraid Elf is a nice thing. They have 3 cards in hand. They can make a construct that's going to be a 2/2 with what we've seen so far next turn. Hit Itsugu, that was a pretty sweet hit. That forces them to crack Bobble too, and they had F6, so they don't get anything for it. Alright, so let's get in for 3. I'm going to leave the Forest in hand so we get at least one Omnath trigger when we play it. And then if we get to exile their graveyard, that should help to turn off their combo. If you're not familiar with this deck, usually it plays some amount of like Emery and Grinding Station, although we haven't seen those yet. And what they do is they use, what's the name of that card? Underworld Breach to churn through most of their deck and then play Thassa's Oracle. They can also just use Underworld Breach to like tempo you out by playing Lightning Bolt like 2 to 3 times after they play it, depending. So they have a few different angles to actually kill you from, which is probably the coolest thing about this deck. Opponent plays Ragavan, they do get to hit us with it, that's fine. They get our General Ferris, which kind of sucks, especially if they actually cast it. What do I want to draw most here? I'm probably just playing Omnath regardless of what I draw. I don't necessarily want to fetch land. At least yet. Okay, we draw fetch land anyway. We exile our opponent's graveyard. They didn't play General Ferris, which is nice. Expressive Iteration is probably the main thing that they have that actually does anything anyway, as far as that goes. Do I hit them with Bloodbraid Elf? I mean, probably, right? Offer the Bloodbraid Elf for the construct. Get them down to 6. Hopefully they don't randomly have a counterspell, but we will see. Red, white, blue. Play Omnath, draw a card. If we draw something decent, we can play Flooded Strand to cast it. If not, we'll just play Flooded Strand and pass. I don't think they play counterspells. Yeah. We draw a fetch land. So we'll gain some life. We'll pass the turn. We can either gain life repeatedly or use the mana next turn to play Juicy Gigantha. Or we can get 3 triggers next turn with our other fetch land and also dome our opponent for 4. So if we draw like a bolt or something, we can just kill them. Which seems pretty sweet. I wonder if they're going to get a needle for a fetch land here. I'd rather them get a needle than something that interacts in a more meaningful way. Especially since we have another Arid Mesa anyway. They get Shadow Spear. Okay. So it looks like our opponent's going to strap up a construct and gain some life. Plays Inspiring Vantage. So they have 3 cards in hand. They have 2 cards in hand now. I was about to say they have 3 cards and we know the Ragavan. So they have 2 unknowns in hand. They did not strap up and attack with construct. Okay. So if they're just planning on blocking to gain life, they've left us the option of... Yeah, I'm not going to block that. Are you kidding me? If we draw a burn spell, which we have 12 of total, we've cast 2 of them. We can just kill them. And we drew a burn spell, what do you know? Alright, so Arid Mesa. Lightning Helix you. Does it resolve? Man, Omnath is really overpowered. I'm not sure if anybody's realized this before. But it's pretty good. Why can't it do all these things? It shouldn't be able to do all of these things. Surely. Okay, sweet. Yeah, they definitely should have strapped up and gained 5 life, just because they know that Omnath can do that, and they've seen burn spells already. They might have had, like, I don't even know. Yeah, I don't know what they would have had in their hand that would have made them play it like that. Okay. So Alpine Moon could deal with Urza's Saga. We have a lot of options here, basically. I think we want Rest in Peace. Lavinia seems good. Force of Vigor could... We have a lot of cards that we could bring in that are decent, is the issue. Teferi seems decent. Hidetsugu was really good. I think I go down on Tribal Flames. Because they can't hit dashed monkeys. I don't like cutting all the Tribal Flames. Lavinia hits probably just Mishra's Bauble. We didn't see many combo cards from them, like we didn't see any... We didn't see any Mox Ambers, which makes me think that they're not really planning on doing the combo thing. I still want all the Rest in Pieces for sure, because at the very least it makes their removal and DRCs a lot worse. I think Force of Vigor might be going a bit too deep, because it kind of occupies the same role that Hidetsugu does and Alpine Moon does. I think I cut down on a General Ferris, and I think I want to... I kind of just want to run it back like that. There's an argument for Teferi too, I think. I think I like Omnath better, and I think that's what I would cut. So let's just do it like that. Alpine Moon on Urza's Saga and Rest in Peace should shut off a significant amount of what their deck is planning on doing. And it should be at least a little difficult for them to deal with those things. They could Prismatic End, but a lot of our other threats don't get Prismatic Ended, so they might have cut down on those. Alright, so we have a basic forest, which we don't like to see, but we do have a Flooded Strand and a bunch of decent things other than that. So since we're on the draw, I think I'm going to keep this hand. Although I play Flooded Strand, I would get Xander's Lounge, because that gets us the most colors, and then I can't play Rest in Peace yet, which kind of sucks. This hand basically only can cast Lightning Bolt right now. So maybe I do have to mulligan this just because I can't play Scion yet. Let's see what our opponent does. If they mulligan, I'm going to lean further towards mulliganing. They keep. I get 2 draws of finding a land. I'll keep it. We have a sideboard card, Wave Interaction for Ragavan. This hand is not the worst. It plays Mountain Monkey. Okay. I'd like to draw a red Shockland the most now, I think. Specifically, Steam Vents would be really good, because then we have all of our colors with an Endatha Triumph from Flooded Strand. We did find a fetch land. Okay. So let's go Blooded Strand. I don't even want them to have an option of thinking about the monkey, I think. I should have played Mishra's Bauble, and I should have played Misty instead since they saw it with Mishra's Bauble already, but whatever. So we're gonna get Steam Vents. Yes. Bolt you. Get out of here. And I wonder if they kept a one-lander. Because that'd be really funny. Spire Bluff Canal. Monkey, not dashed. That one's actually going to hit us, which is kind of stinky. But it's fine. We're going to play Misty and pass and plan on getting Indotha Triumph with it. I'm not going to worry about Rest in Peace yet. I would rather go for either Scion or General Ferris next turn, I think. And then I think the Bloodbraid Elf is going to be our plan to get rid of Ragavan. I'm going to go ahead and fetch here, because as much as I would like them to hit a land with Ragavan, I'd rather not give them the option of hitting Indotha Triumph at least. So they get a treasure. What do they get off of our top deck? Breeding Pool. Sweet. They play Urza's Saga. Alright, so they have a lot of action. We draw Zagoth Triumph. We have two copies of General Ferris. If let's see if this sticks. If it does and we draw an untapped land for next turn, that's great because we can play Bloodbraid Elf and most likely remove Ragavan with that. We'll see what happens though. Having General Ferris means that we can deal with these constructs pretty decently because we'll have a source of repeating blockers to trade for their constructs. Opponent attacks with Monkey. Do I just block with General Ferris? I think I do. Because there's not a guarantee that I'm going to play Bloodbraid Elf next turn anyway. So I think I'd rather just use that one as monkey fodder. Especially since they're legendary and we have another one. We draw Omnath. Okay. So we're definitely going to have either Omnath or Bloodbraid Elf or both next turn. So let's play General Ferris. I will not be blocking anybody with it this time. We'll see if they have removal for it. If we draw fetch land, that's fantastic because that means we can go Omnath, fetch Bloodbraid Elf, and get at least 2 constructs off of Ferris Rockrick. Probably going to get Shadow Spear here, I would assume. Although it's possible they get... Okay, yeah, they get Shadow Spear. Sacred Foundry, Shocked In. Opponent goes down to 18. I assume they're going to hit us for 5 here. And we will not be blocking, because there's really just not a reason. So we're going to go down to 9. We draw a Bolt. What does that mean? Omnath gives us another look at finding a fetch land, and I think that's the main way that we get out of the pinch that we're in. And either way, we at least get to draw a card with Omnath and make a 4/4 with Ferris Rockrick. Does Omnath resolve? Yes. We draw. Land? Please? Damn, they had an Unholy Heat, so it doesn't matter. We did draw a land, though. Which means we can Shock in Stomping Ground and bolt this construct, and then the other one shrinks. Opponent has 3 cards in hand currently, which is tied with us. And currently their construct gets killed by our Golem. I think I was calling these construct tokens before. I mean, they're basically the same. Opponent plays Expressive Iteration. They're digging for something. Find a Mishra's Bauble and an Unknown. They play Mishra's Bauble. I assume they're going to look at our top deck with it. Although they're probably just going to attack with Construct first, right? Yeah, okay, so they are playing Grinding Station. We were right about that, at least. They hit us for 5. We're going to take it begrudgingly. And put ourselves in bolt range. So I can either get First Strike, or I can go with Bloodbraid Elf and spin the wheel. They didn't have Bolt right then. They have 3 cards. There's a decent chance they found a Bolt. I think Sign of Draco Rest in Peace is the most responsible way to play this, because we get to hit our opponent for 7 with Vigilance. And then we get to Rest in Peace and turn off their Grinding Station shit. Just in case that's the direction that they go in. Because them finding a Bolt with Grinding Station and then playing Underworld Breach is a way that we could definitely die here. Okay. Attack. This also means that we have First Strike blockers, which can kill the Construct. Assuming that Scion stays around. I'll represent a Bolt just in case. And if they have their own Lightning Bolt, we're just dead. So we'll see what happens. Opponent untaps. Opponent plays a monkey. Okay. So dashed monkey. We block, block, block. And let's see what happens. Any significant interaction from them just kills us, since we're at such a precarious life total currently. Thinks about activating Grinding Station. And concedes. Wow, alright. We stabilized it too, that was shocking. Okay, I'll see you in the next one. Alright, round 3, we won the die roll again, which is very, very nice. We revealed Jagantha. Opponent's playing a Kahira deck, so either control or elemental's likely. Our hand's pretty decent, we will keep. We can play Kavu on 2, we can't play Scion on 2 with this hand, unfortunately. But we've got a little bit of interaction with Bolt, and we have a pretty fast beatdown clock otherwise. So let's go Misty Pass. See what our opponent's doing. Opponent also plays Misty and passes. We are gonna get what? We already have a bunch of green, so we don't necessarily need Indatha Triome here. I think I'm gonna get Xander's Lounge, so we have more red. We draw Bloodbraid Elf. Okay. That was dumb of me. I needed to get Indatha Triome so that I had white mana. So I may have punted in that way. We draw Zagoth Triome. Let's go into combat. Discard a card, draw a card. It looks like we're playing against control, so I'm going to get rid of Bolt, I think. Although, yeah, I think that's correct still. We draw another Scion. Not necessarily what I wanted. Let's play Zagoth Triumph, pass the turn. We can play Bloodbraid Elf next turn at the very least, and then we'll see what happens from there. Opponent plays Castle Vantress, definitely blue-white control. They might have Teferi here, it looks like they don't. And they pass, sweet. We draw Manamorphose, so that actually could let us play Omnath. I think I just want to go for Bloodbraid here, though. Bloodbraid Elf is the classically good card against control. We get another Territorial Kavu. So I guess we'll see if they have a board wipe. If they counter the Kavu, they don't have a board wipe, at least yet. Okay, they countered Bloodbraid Elf, which makes me think they do. Let's discard a Scion. Draw Shardless Agent. Also a decent card to have here. Our opponent goes down to 11. They play Scalding Tarn. They do not board wipe yet. We draw Lightning Helix, which we could cast if only we had better mana fixing. Let's go to combat. Attack with the boys. First trigger gets rid of Scion. Second trigger gets rid of Omnom. We found an Arid Mesa. Let's see if our opponent takes enough damage that they're in lethal range. Opponent plays Wandering Emperor. Okay. They exile one of our things and gain 2 life. That's fine. Opponent takes 4. Let's lead on Shardless Agent. So blue, green, generic, cast, get a Cascade, get a Tribal Flames. Oh my god, I should have played Arid Mesa first, that was stupid. I'm gonna go downstairs on Wandering Emperor with it. Play Arid Mesa, pass. Yeah, I could have just had lethal because they didn't have a force there, and if I played air, yeah, I just didn't think about that. So I've misplayed twice so far this game. If we still get there through 2 misplays, this deck has to be good, right? Because apparently I'm a moron. Alright, opponent plays Teferi, which means we can't instant speed Lightning Helix, which is at least kind of annoying. But Lightning Helix is probably going to go downstairs at Teferi now, because we're going to want to be able to Shardless Agent. Okay. I might just attack and see if it goes through, though. So we have a bunch of green. We'd like more red, I think. So I think I just get Sacred Foundry, right? Yeah. General Ferris Rockrick. Alright, let's see if our opponent lets us kill Teferi with Shardless Agent. Okay. And I think I want to play General Ferris here. Because we can still Manamorphose into Lightning Helix. And then that kind of flashes guys in. They are very incentivized to board wipe because it's hard to remove General Ferris Rockrick. Looks like they don't have a board wipe, though. Alright, let's Manamorphose. That gets us at least one free 4/4. And then we see if they counter this Manamorphose. If not, we get another free 4/4. Looks like we are going to get another one. Lightning Helix you. Yeah, that's the main reason that we're playing Manamorphose. It's also randomly good against, like, if we either get mana screwed or opponent has Blood Moons or something. Manamorphose is a decent way that we can get out of it, because you can Manamorphose into, like... Okay. We just have a Tribal Flames again, so I'm going to go to combat, see if that kills them. If they interact, I'm just going to go Tribal Flames. And if that isn't enough, I can still play Shardless Agent and probably get another burn spell with that. Opponent goes down to 4. Gets an island. They can play Solitude. Then they can block something with Solitude and still take 5. Okay. Blocks Ferris Rockrick, makes sense. Opponent should be at 1 now, right? Yes. So let's see if Tribal Flames does it. And if not, we can go Shardless Agent and see if we get a Bolt. Sweet. Alright. So against control, we bring in Teferi. That's probably the easiest include. And I don't think we really care that much about anything else. Rest in Peace could matter, but it's unlikely that they're playing a bunch of Graveyard Synergy stuff, so it probably doesn't matter. And I think we just cut Hitotsugus because they do basically nothing. Run it like that. And we just kind of want to do the old hyper aggro plan like we did there and try to get under them before they recover. I wonder how many board wipes they have post-board. I'm not really up to date with how many board wipes blue-white control plays in their main deck anymore. I assume that's like 3, since that's normally the amount. I remember back in the day when Spirits was running around and the blue-white control deck was just a blue-white Miracles deck, and they were playing 5 board wipes. That was a lot of fun. All right, we have Teferi, we have the mana for it, we have a little bit of burn, we have Shardless Agent. I think we'll keep. Against blue-white controlled... Ooh, we got a Bloodbraid Elf, that's nice. Against blue-white control, Teferi is very much a card where if you get it to stick, you kind of just coast to a win, because it turns off so many of the cards in their deck. So if they go like turn 3 their own Teferi, and then they don't have a force for ours, which they might have cut Force of Negations after last game, but I'm not certain, then we're just in a decent spot. So let's get Ndatha since we already have Steam Vents. We draw Scion of Draco. I do kind of want to draw more lands, so I'm going to go Shotgun, Steam Vents, play Scion here. See if they want to counterspell or something, since they can't Prismatic End this. And then that should make it a little bit easier for us to get Teferi down next turn. They still likely have at least one more counterspell in their hand, probably an Archmage's Charm. We draw Territorial Kavu. Alright. Let's play Wooded Foothills, pop it. Play... what do we want? I think we want Sacred Foundry. And we want to draw a land next turn. Play Shardless Agent, see what happens with that. Lightning Bolt, not very exciting. Would have liked to hit a Kavu or something there, but it's fine. If they leave their mana up, I'm likely not playing Teferi next turn. Yeah, they have an Archmage's Charm. I'm a genius. So I'm either going to go... Yeah, they pass. Okay, we drew Arid Mesa, so that means Bloodbraid Elf. I'm going to get rid of the Cascade cards from my hand while they still don't have their own Teferi in play, because that's something I'm concerned about. We have red, we need... Unfortunately, we can't get blue-green, which was kind of what I would want to get. The only thing that's blue we can get anyway is Xander's Lounge, so it's not really worth it. So let's get Stomping Ground here. Yes. Play BBE. See what we cascade into. Another Lightning Bolt, not very exciting. The 1-drops are not necessarily the thing that are the best to cascade into, at least when you're not getting to remove a creature with them. But at least it pressures our opponent, I guess. Looks like a Wandering Emperor, yep. Exiles Bloodbraid Elf, makes a blocker to block. It makes more sense. Opponent goes down to 10, we lose Bloodbraid Elf. We may have just given them too much time this game. So we can Helix to get rid of Wandering Emperor. We drew a Forest, which means we get to go Helix, and then if they counter it, play Teferi afterward, right? White-red. Lightning Helix. Resolves. Into Westing. I suspect that they have Solitude. But since that resolved, I'm going to hope that they don't have a counterspell in their hand and see if Teferi resolves. Because if it does, we can bounce Samurai. They do have a counterspell. They have an Archmage's Charm. Okay. Let's attack. I assume they're going to block. Makes sense. Opponent has 4 cards. We don't have any pressure, unfortunately. So we'll see what happens from here. Yeah, opponent just has a lot of cards in hand, so I think we've lost this one already. They don't have Planeswalkers in play and activating, and that's what really would have lost us the game, though. So it's worth at least continuing to play it. Manamorphose. Red-green. We get a Bloodbraid Elf. Let's play Bloodbraid Elf. Hopefully cascade into something spicy. Like a Teferi. General Ferris Rockrick, not bad. We can't follow that up immediately by playing a multicolored spell, unfortunately, but still something that's nice to have around at least. They didn't have a counterspell for that. They might be planning on board wiping. We're going to get in with Bloodbraid Elf. It looks like they have Solitude up, so we'll see if it actually gets through. It taps a bunch of mana, but not for Solitude. Shark Typhoon, okay. I feel like it's been a while since I've seen Shark Typhoon in Modern, but that does block and kill Bloodbraid Elf while drawing a card, so that's pretty efficient. Let's see if they have removal for Ferris Rockrick. I know that Teferi can at least bounce it, and then they could possibly counter it after that. Hall of the Storm Giants, okay. We draw Wooded Foothills. Let's play Omnom. Green, white, blue, red. If it gets countered, that's fine. We got a 4/4, and if it gets through, we get to draw a card and do a bunch of shenanigans. possibly. Resolves, please. Since we drew a Wooded Foothills, we're going to at least be able to play Territorial Kavu after playing Omnath. Okay, they're looking for a counterspell. And we're looking for a board wipe, which would also be very sad. So we'll see. What do they have? Teferi. Okay. They didn't find a counterspell for Omnath, so I'm relatively secure feeling with playing Teferi at least. Four, 5. Yeah, we don't need that. Let's get Breeding Pool tapped. And I'm going to play Teferi and leave Kavu in hand. I guess I should have shocked that in so I could get... They do have a counterspell now. They have Ice. Weird. Maybe they're looking for a Force, I guess, or they just wanted to get Ice out of their hand while they could. Do I just draw a card or do I plus? They have Hall of the Storm Giants, which doesn't have Trample, does it? It's just a 7/7. Yeah, let's go ahead and draw a card just in case. No target. Wooded Foothills. They probably have a board wipe here. So I think I just want to go ahead and go to combat rather than overcommitting right now. Because we already have them dead on board. Especially with this 3 extra damage getting in here. There's not a good reason to overcommit. Shark Typhoon is definitely something to be wary of if we go to another game here, as a way that they could easily kill Ferris Rockrick if we attack in with it while they have 3 mana up. Memory Deluge, they're looking for the board wipe. They don't have it yet, which is great. And they concede! Awesome. Yeah, this deck is a lot of fun to play. The random burn for 5 damage means that you can get wins as early as turn 4. I don't think you can possibly... Can you win on turn 3 with this deck? You could play Kavu on turn... Yeah, you can't win on turn 3 with this deck. But... Unless they like deal a bunch of damage to themselves, and you go turn 1 Bolt, turn 2 Kavu, turn 3 burn you out some more. So I guess maybe you can. I don't know. But yeah, the resilience of this deck is really fun. I'll see you in the next one. Alright, final round. We won the die roll yet again. Very lucky. Revealing Gigantha. Our opponent's playing a Yorion deck. We only have 1 land, so we are going to mulligan here. Oh no. The grind from Yorion decks is going to make this extra hard too. I mean, we got a mulligan again. Our mana base is... Oh my god. I mean, I guess I'm going to keep now, even though Zagoth Trum's like the worst one. Get rid of you, get rid of you. Alright. So we have to draw lands. That was very unlikely. 3 1-landers in a row. Alright. Opponent plays Spara's Headquarters. We drew a land. Good start. So we have Zagoth, which means we get Sacred Foundry and play Kavu. We can't play Rockrick with our current mana. Well, of course, we need another land anyway, but these two don't produce Boros together, unfortunately. And we also can't play Shardless Agent because of the Triumph Shockland setup that we have currently. So we need another land. And we need it to be a fetch land, or we need it to be something that produces either red or white. which shouldn't be too hard to find as long as we find a land in general. Especially if we get to loot with this Kavu and they don't, or I guess rummage with the Kavu and they don't get rid of it immediately. Opponent plays land, passes. They did not prismatic end. We did draw land. Good start. So what? I think I want to play Ferris Rockrick. So let's go to combat. Attack. I don't really want to get rid of anything in my hand right now. Because I think it's likely that we're going to need this Lightning Helix to interact with their creatures that they play. Or possibly their planeswalkers. Like if they play Teferi, it shuts off the Cascade on Shardless Agent. And I definitely don't want to get rid of the land. So I think I'm just going to not do anything with it. Opponent takes 5. So let's get probably something red-green. So Stomping Ground. Yeah. Get Stomping Ground, play Ferris Rockrick, hope that it doesn't get countered or something here. But even if it does, we at least still have a 5/5 that we're beating down with, and we have at least 3 damage, possibly more of burn in our hand. Rockrick resolves. Okay. Opponent fetches with Misty, down to 14. Gets another Triumph. Wish I had mana like that right now. I mean, I guess now I just have as much mana fixing as I need, minus like a 4th land for either Omnath or Bloodbraid Elf. But we'll deal with that when we get there. Opponent plays Expressive Iteration, which probably means they're not interacting with us this turn. So 5, 6, 7, 8. Opponent takes 8, goes down to 6. That's not quite enough that we could get a Tribal Flames, but it is enough that if we get a Bolt, they could die. Opponent fetches with Windswept Heath. Gets a basic Forest. So now if we get a Tribal Flames, they could die. Another Lightning Helix. Interesting. I still don't think I want to loot with Kavu, hilariously. 5, 6, 7, 8. Do I play Shardless Agent or do I leave up Helix? I think I want to play Agent. Actually, no, they could randomly have a board wipe or something, so I want to leave up Lightning Helix because it makes a 4/4 anyway. I don't want to accidentally punt this after we have had this good of a game after. I'm going to play Sokazan. We've had a very good game for the hand that we kept. We've drawn basically exactly what we wanted every turn. Fury. That doesn't kill either of our things. And if they go for Ephemerate on Fury, we get to kill it. Okay. Haha! Alright, don't have a counterspell. Looks like they have a counterspell. Alright, so that means they get to kill our Kavu, but they're still probably just dead because we kill Fury and then we kill them with our creatures. Right? This can only tap for red. They should just be dead here. Alright. Sweet, wow. That was very surprising. Okay. Deck's pretty sweet. We bring in Lavinia. And we probably bring in Teferi. I don't think we care about anything else in particular. Yeah, we bring in Teferi because it cuts off their Ephemerate plan and their counterspells, and we bring in Lavinia because it cuts off their evokes. And we cut Hidetsugu because, like against control, it basically doesn't do anything here. Although exiling their graveyard is probably a little bit better. And then I think I just cut Manamorphose because I want to keep all the good stuffy type of cards in, and I want to keep all the removal in because we want to be able to interact with their Ephemerates. So yeah, I think that's the correct way to sideboard here. I'm pretty sure, well, I mean, we definitely don't want that, definitely don't want that, probably don't want that. Seems fine. Reveal Jegantha again. This hand has the opposite problem, my god. I think I got a mulligan this because of how slow it is. Alright. I'll keep reluctantly. Get rid of a Bloodbraid Elf because it's a little bit much. We're still a little bit shy of having all of our colors online at once. But Misty means we're at least halfway there. If I play Misty and get a Triome, I'm less likely to draw the Triome. But I'm more likely to be able to play a Scion next turn. Yeah, let's just do that. I have 11 more fetch lands in my deck, and I'll have a Steam Vents in my deck too. So there are 12 draws, which is a decent chance at being able to play Scion if I get into the Triome with this. And I think that's exactly the plan. Shoxin Temple Garden down to 15. They've done a lot of damage to themselves already this game. They play Wrenn 6. They don't activate Wrenn 6, which means we can bolt it. It's a little bit surprising. I'll take it. Pass the turn. We don't have things to do yet, but hopefully we will eventually. Opponent plays Teferi. That is very annoying because it cuts off our Bloodbraid Elf cascades. Oh my god, now I did it. Holy shit. Well, at least that's even now. Opponent plays Wrenn 6, and we're probably screwed now. Although they don't have that many cards in hand, I guess. We draw Blood Crypt. Let's play Wooded Foothills. Getting... I think I'm leaning Breeding Pool. Yeah. Getting Breeding Pool. The plan is Teferi plus. Hopefully they don't have a counterspell. We can't minus Teferi because then they can kill it with a Wrenn 6 ping. Yeah, so last turn me accidentally F6ing through my entire turn. It was pretty stinky. Basically time walked myself. Because I could have played double Scion last turn. Cast Eladomri's Call. What do they get with it? Magus of the Moon. Well, I'm definitely bouncing that with Teferi, because my god. Wooded Foothills, that's good news. That means that I can get a forest. We draw General Ferris Rockrick, which I'm not sure I'm going to be able to cast or not. But I can at least play these. And it's hard for them to remove because they can't Prismatic End them. They can bounce them with Teferi and then play Magus of the Moon, which means that it can't come down again, at least for the time being. But our Teferi can possibly... Yeah, there's the bounce. Our Teferi could possibly get to where we could bounce Magus again. Although it's a little unlikely. I'd really like to get their Teferi off the board so I can unlock Bloodbraid Elf. Prismatic Ending on our Teferi. Okay. Magus after that? Magus, okay. I wonder if they have Solitude or Fury to get rid of Scion of Draco. Because if we can get in with Scion on their Teferi, that at least does something for us. And then we're going to have to pressure Wrenn and 6 for sure. But Bloodbraid Elf might be able to hit removal for Magus of the Moon, and then we're just in business yet again. Alright, come on, removal. Lightning Helix, that's removal. Alright. So that is step 1. Looks like that. Yeah, they have Omnom. It's kind of funny that their 4-color deck is playing Magus of the Moon. I guess it makes sense with how scary like Amulet is for them, I bet. I wonder what the Amulet matchup is actually like for Yorion Money Pile. Because Prismatic Ending is good, but pretty much everything else is dreadfully slow, and they are playing 80 cards, so it's kind of unlikely that they find whatever their sideboard cards are. I don't know. If we draw a land, I think I'm going to go Ferris Rockrick Shardless Agent. And if I don't, I'm not certain. I definitely want to pressure Wrenn and 6 so that doesn't get to ult on us. Opponent puts Yorion into their hand. They have 3 mana available. They don't do anything with it. We draw Arid Mesa. Okay. So Arid Mesa is going to get us something that taps for white. There's an argument that we want something that taps for blue, but we don't actually have that many blue spells, I guess. So I'd rather have a Temple Garden here. We only have 2 red currently, so I'd rather have a Sacred Foundry. Yeah. And I'm going to go with the Rockrick Shardless Agent in main phase 1, so if I get removal for Omnath, I can play that. White, red, green, Ferris Rockrick, Shardless Agent. Hopefully like a Tribal Flames on your Omnath or something. We've found our board, Lightning Helix. That's going to go at Wrenn and 6. Because I really, really don't want Wrenn and 6 to stay around and kill my Rockrick if I can help it. I think I'm just going to attack Wrenn and 6 like that. Alright, we got rid of the Wrenn and 6. They still have 6 cards in hand, so there's plenty of possibility that they can remove Rockrick still. They can bounce it with Teferi, they can actually just kill it with Wrenn and 6 ping. But we have a pretty big board now. And we have 2 more things we can play next turn. Along with a companion somewhere in the ether still. They've been gaining a shit ton of life, which has been very annoying. The fact that Omnath... I've had this happen a couple times in practice, actually. Like, one time in particular against Elves was really offensive. Where my opponent had a gigantic board, and I just played Omnath and stabilized completely with that one card. Completely ridiculous. Okay, opponent has decent blockers now. which is annoying. But we should have a decent amount of options of removal for them at least. The life gain is also really annoying. It means that we can't just try to alpha strike them out of the game. Omnath is a nice draw. Our Omnath has hexproof. Does your Omnath have hexproof? I don't think so. And if we draw a fetch land with it, we can play Bloodbraid Elf afterward. So I think it's probably correct to do that. So blue, green, red, white. Omnom. Make a token. Opponent fetches. Do they have a counterspell maybe? Looks like it, since they shocked in blue land. They do have a counterspell, that's a little bit obnoxious. We got a free boy still at least. And we're gonna go ahead and play Scion. Pass the turn. Not attacking because unfortunately they have a 4/5 that brick walls a lot of our things, and just getting in for 4 damage isn't impactful while they have an Omnath in play still. At least their Yorion came down and it didn't like remove a bunch of our stuff or something like that with Solitudes. At least yet. Opponent has a bunch of cards still, and we are running relatively low on that. If I can get rid of either their Omnath or their Yorion, I'm going to start attacking. EE on 3. For Shardless Agent and Ferris Rockrick. Okay. That's a little bit annoying at least. Our opponent's still not hitting us, which is something. What do they have now? Teferi? Eternal Witness. That probably gets engineered explosives again. It doesn't. I feel like they possibly should have got EE for 0 to get rid of our golems. But I guess they get Teferi because they have Omnath. They get to bounce something. They bounce a golem, draw a card. Okay. The game is starting to slip away from us, it feels like. Lightning Helix. Alright, that means that as long as we get any burn spell with Bloodbraid Elf, we can at least get rid of Yorion. And then we can start attacking in. Alright, Bloodbraid Elf. Territorial Kavu, and we can't play it with Teferi anyway, because I'm a moron. Why did I not think about the Teferi in play? I don't know. Very annoying. Very annoying. I think I'm just going to attack them with everything. If they block Bloodbraid with Omnath, we can at least kill it, or we can kill Yorion here. I think there's a decent chance they have another Omnath in their hand already. That's a 13. Wish I got a free Kavu with that Bloodbraid Elf, that would have been nice. Unfortunate. Now Scion can get in for free, and the Golem can get in and probably not be blocked. But we have to pressure Teferi so that it doesn't get to kill another... Yeah, there's another Omnath. I was right about that at least. So opponent draws a card with that. So many cards. This, I mean, honestly, we're playing almost the same deck. Ours is just more like aggro-oriented by a little bit. And theirs is more mid-rangey / control-oriented. But we're both just playing like 4-color good stuff or 5-color good stuff, respectively. Teferi is nice. What does Teferi do for us, though? We played Teferi. We can't really bounce anything impactful right now. Let's attack their Teferi. Opponent has 3 cards in hand currently. I might use this Teferi to rebuy Bloodbraid Elf. I could see that being a thing that happens. I really don't want to give them extra draws if I can help it. So I think I'm going to wait for now. Because otherwise I would have to protect Teferi from Omnath. And that doesn't seem like a good deal. They play another Teferi, my god. Alright. Opponent. Bounces Ewit. Things are bad. Yeah, the window has closed. I'm gonna let them actually kill us, I think, or at least get to a point where I feel thoroughly defeated. My god. Third try. Holy shit. Alright, opponent does a bunch of shit. They have a Yorion again. Things are terrible. I'll see what I draw. If I don't draw anything particularly good, I'm just going to scoop. Yeah, opponent even got Magus back. We will concede. Because now they can play Magus and then just keep disrupting us whenever we try to get rid of it. Alright. Unfortunate. Although relatively close, so at least it was fun. I'm going to bring Manamorphose back in since we saw Magus's Magi. What do I want to get rid of? I think I get rid of a couple Lightning Helixes, since it can't kill their larger creatures, which are the main thing that I would rather be hitting with it. Yeah. Let's do it like that. Again, can't say I expected the 4-color deck to have Magus, or any Blood Moon effect for that matter, but maybe that's just a thing that they play normally. I feel like I don't see it usually, but they are 80 cards, so you're not going to see it all the time. Reveal Gigantha. We are on the play. I'm hopefully not going to F6 through a turn or something. And hopefully we'll have reasonable lands and an actually ideal start for the first time in a little while. Game seems to be lagging out a little bit. Hopefully it won't last for too long. If it does, I'll just skip to that in the video, though. Oh, it's our opponent waiting to reveal Yorion. Let's see what it is now. They might have walked away for a moment or something like that. Which I can't blame them for. This has been a relatively long match already. Alright. So I'm trying to... Okay, we have land, which means we have all of our colors. We have Manamorphose in case they play... Yeah, I mean, this seems fine. We'll keep. Territorial Kavu gets prismatically ended, which is a little bit annoying. I'm not certain if I'm going to lead on Lavinia or Kavu. Opponent's going down to 5. I think I might lead on Kavu and do Lavinia afterward. Let's play Arid Mesa and pass. The reason I'm playing Arid Mesa instead of the green fetch here is if we draw another fetch, I'd like to keep Wooded Foothills in hand to get a basic forest with it, or the basic forest with it, to help me play around Magus just a little bit if I can help it. Let's get Indatha Triome because, yeah, okay, we found another land. Let's go Steam Vents, the ideal opener for us. Let's go ahead and play Kavu. Tap the wrong color. You can tell I was still thinking about Lavinia kind of there. Kavu Could possibly make them spend their second turn just removing Kavu, which would be nice. Draw another one. Okay. Let's go to combat. Attack you. Discard a card, draw a card. Gonna discard Omnath here, I think. Because it's the slowest out of what we have in our hand. And we don't have the lands to play it yet anyway. Play Lavinia. And if we can just keep the tempo on our side, we might be able to close it out with this Kavu. It looks like they're going to counter this Lavinia. Okay, so we play Wooded Foothills. We pass. We're hoping to draw another land so we can go 2-drop, 2-drop here. But if that doesn't happen, it's not really the end of the world. And I'm just going to leave Manamorphose in my hand for as long as possible. Okay, opponent plays Expressive Iteration, so it's possible that they Solitude our Kavu here. But they're not going to be able to use Prismatic Ending. Plays Misty, cracks it, down to 12. Do they shock something in? They do not. They get a basic Forest. Play Abundant Growth, makes sense. I'm going to get a Triome with... Well, no, I'm not. I'm going to get a basic Forest with Wooded Foothills. Am I even going to do that? If I'm getting a basic Forest, there's no point in waiting. I mean, there's no point in doing it right now, so I'm just going to untap. Arid Mesa. Okay. What does Arid Mesa mean for me? It means I go to combat. Attack you. I think I would rather exile a card from your graveyard, which I guess is a counterspell. Go down to 7. They haven't had any removal for our Kavus yet, which is a very good sign. We're going to have green, green. We're going to want Sacred Foundry. The Naya colors are really the ones that are the most important for us most of the time, and then blue's a little bit important depending on how we sideboard, and then black is barely ever important. Just in case you're trying to figure out how to do your stuff. Scion basically has protection from a decent amount of their removal, and then we play Kavu, and we're threatening lots of lethal. Especially since we have Shardless Agent, which has a decent chance of hitting a burn spell. So we might have got there by just playing the aggro route. Of course, if they play a board wipe here, I'll feel very silly. Nice Fangcoatl. We have a bunch of trample, doesn't matter so much. What'd you draw? Beseiju. Okay. Abundant Growth. They're fishing for something to do. Probably looking for a Solitude, and opponent concedes. Sweet. Oh my god, we got a 4-1 with this deck. That's very satisfying. Alright, so let's open up some packs. Yeah, I'm very satisfied with this deck. It's been a lot of fun to play. It's definitely further on the expensive side out of the things that I usually play on the channel. But slowly I'll work my way up to playing more big decks like that. We got a Waterlogged Grove, that's pretty nice. And we got the... Which one is this? Cabaretti Initiate. Is that the one that kind of looks like Sly Cooper in the full card art? I don't remember. But we got the Raccoon icon. And we got a Glimpse the Unthinkable, which is, I think, not played in Mill ever anymore. Got some nothings here. I still have a bunch of... I still have the 50. Got a Llanowar Waste with white border. Disgusting. I still have the 50 treasure chest from the the showcase challenge that I played. Ooh, we got a fancy Ashiok. That's kind of cool. And I don't know if I want to open them or just sell them for tickets. If you guys are... I don't know if you guys like this part of the channel that much, but if you guys want to see me open up 50 treasure chests, I guess I could add that on to the end of one of my videos. Okay, let's see. Domain Zoo. I mean, yeah, this deck was pretty sweet. My only main complaint is the Zagoth Triome and... where is it? And Sacred Foundry combo is the worst way to do 5 colors on turn 2 with this deck. But otherwise it doesn't matter that much. I've had a lot of fun with this deck. It's nice to play kind of fair Magic with just a bunch of Cascade spells that don't even go into a busted Suspend card or anything like that, and beat people with it. Alright, let me know what you want to see in the future, and I'll see you then.
Hey everyone, Shoe Nice again. Well, basically, go subscribe to Tezzey's YouTube channel. And for those who made it to the end of the video, thank you.